Welcome back to Project Ozone 3, and it's time for the AE2 storage episode, big expansion of storage, and we'll get started by looking at some automation, and we'll see where we get to in the episode. Well, whether we'll get to a full storage solution or not depends on the progress. Let's get started, in fact. So on here, you'll find, near my big controller, I've got two separate cables. This one is blue, this one is black. More importantly, that's not the default type of smart cable, because default smart cable will connect to any color, but colored cable, including black, will not connect to other colors. So this just keeps things nice and separate, and we're going to need that in a second. There are other ways of dealing with this, but this just makes the what I'm about to do for stock keeping, this is a stock keeping system, quite simple to lay out, and then obviously we can rearrange later. So what we're going to do with this, we've got our inscribers here, which are not doing anything at the moment. This one's the logic press, so this one converts gold into these, the printed logic circuits, okay? And we are going to, what was that? Printed glowstone? Okay, very odd. Yes, what was I going to say? Yes, we're going to control the manufacture of this stuff by using these cables. So the first thing I want to do is just run the rest of this black cable here just to the back of these for now. And that will start power up for the first thing. There we go. And we've got 5 of them running at the moment. We may well have more later. That's fine for now. What you should see is this will light up in a second. Yeah, there we go. We've got 5 devices, I think. 4? Oh, 4, because this one isn't connected by anything but power, basically. Yeah. So for now, we've got these 4 devices, the export buses, that is. And the export buses are going to be the thing we're going to control. So what we're going to do then is take in some level emitters. And we're going to put it on the back here. Now these are independent devices, and they're also going to take up a channel. So if you're going to try and put them on the same cable network, be aware you're either going to need dense cable or some variant of it, or a subnetwork or something like that. We'll come back into some networks in the storage part of the episode, assuming we get that far. So let's just get rid of you. We don't need you. And we've got 4 LED level emitters that are right now emitting redstone. So what we're going to do in there for each one of these things, we're going to basically configure it for specific items. So for example, this end one, I'm going to say configure it for gold, and let's put 1,000 in. In fact, not a gold. Logic processors. There we go. 1,000. So if the levels are above that, it's going to emit a redstone signal, which it isn't right now. Okay. On this side, on the export bus, we're going to say configure you for gold. All right. And then we're going to put in a redstone card, and that gives us a new tab over here, which we can say this should export gold when the redstone signal is active. Right now, it's not. So we're not getting anything other than what I've done manually. Right, so all we need to do then is flip this over. And this should start exporting gold, hopefully, if it's responding. Yep, there it is. It's exporting gold. And we're starting to get printed logic circuits. I'm just going to flip that back again, just so it's not actually crafting this all the time while I'm actually configuring other stuff. Because this is just a starting ingredient. Now, if we have anything in here, the output, that is, the printed logic circuits, it means that this is on, so we can just basically move anything from here straight away over here into the top section of this, if we have any, because we already know that's implicit on that level emitter. So all we really need to do now is basically export it and put it into the item below, or the next processing thing below. Now we could, I think, maybe get away with putting them there, and maybe just pull them automatically. So if we just take you out for a second, and let's just recover you. You're not reacting to a wrench. Okay, we'll just deal with this like this then. I want to say, let me just put in some white concrete around this, just so I've got something to put them onto and access later. Yep, that will do. So we now have an inscriber down there. That's not doing anything right now. We can connect up some power later, but all we really need to do is feed the output of this straight into that, and then from there, well, we need to feed in a few other items. The special case here being silicon. This needs to be supplied to all of these, not just one of them. So we'll have to work out that routing later. To get started, can we just do this with Enduro conduits to get started with? Because we don't need any interaction with our system conduit, with our system at all. And I don't have any item conduit in the system. Do I have it in my backpack anywhere? Conduit. Hello, conduit. Okay, let's just actually make some then. Item conduit. Do I have any pulsating nodes, or I don't have any conduit binder? Yeah, okay, so I'm going to need to make a few things. Conduit binder is one of them. Let's go and pop that in our furnace, and then let's go and talk about how we're going to automate it. So, in fact, let me just jump to just finishing this conduit off. You don't need to see that on camera, surely. So I've made the item conduits up and I've set these up. So we've got multiple channels. We've got green, brown, and blue. Each of those are taking the first type of output. So in this case, if we put in a gold in there, it goes through straight down into here. Okay. Same thing with all the others, each of those three. And the fourth one, which is our silicon, is going to go down, and then it's going to go inserting into the bottom of each of these end product. Okay. So anytime we have any of those things, we're fine to do this. I think what we're also going to need is we also need to set up the ME level emitters. We need something maybe special for this one, because this one's silicon. It needs to be supplied if any of those three are on. But since we can't easily do that, what we might want to make sure of is that we have so many, we just detect on the silicon, printed silicon. And if we, what we can do, I think, if that's purple, we can have it trying all of these. And then if it can't find any of those, i.e. can't insert on any of those, we can have it also going into the system, and then we can then detect this if the system has the number of things we want. So let's just put in another connection to this. Let's just put it underneath. And we're going to have that be an insert on purple, but with a lower priority than these. Okay, so it's going to try and insert into our system, but if not, then, you know, we don't have a problem. In fact, no, it's going to try and insert into these, and if not, it'll go into the system. And then we can then set up this ME level emitter to basically work off the printed silicon. So let's just set these up. We've got one printed silicon, and this one can say if we are, emit when levels are below and 1,000 silicon, printed silicon, fair enough. Then this one can be, which one is it? There's the calculation. So this one is going to look for the calculation processors. That's engineering. And let's do the engineering one first. Engineering, 1,000 emitter levels are below. And then we can just switch that back. Well, in fact, yeah, I'm going to need to set these up as well, aren't I? Yeah. So let's put in the redstone cards. Engineering means diamonds. So let's just get some diamond. And we're also going to need some pure surface quartz, and we haven't automated that yet, so that's going to be another task. So I'm not going to worry about this one for now. Yeah, we can just leave that one deactivated, and this one can be active. Engineering processor, if we are below 1,000, trigger this, and then this one will start exporting diamonds. And this should be active with signal, and it should start exporting diamonds. Yep. And this system actually can be turned on because it will just jam the bottom inscribers with those. And then because they can't go anywhere else because of the channel colors, it will then backfill into these, and these will jam as well. But that's fine, because then as soon as we start processing the bottom, we should be okay. Lastly, on the bottom, we need connections into the back. We just want to then connect. How many channels are we using up? We're using up 4. Okay, and we have enough space for using up the rest. So in the back of here, all we need is redstone, I think. Yeah. So we got one export bus. Put that one in. And we just need 2 more. So bus. And the system can craft them now. So I've got the recipe in there. Bus again. 2 more export buses. Good. 1, 2. And then it means we can use the black cable to fill these in. Okay, and that, once we have silicon, we'll need to automate that as well. Can our system have silicon? Do we have any? Yes, we have a few, but we'll need to basically be producing silicon constantly. We can just configure this to export silicon. We shouldn't even need the acceleration cards in here like we've done with other ones, but we can always do those. And then the system should actually already be connected and should already be trying to export silicon. Yeah, there it is. It's exporting it. But that's, oh, this is not silicon. Oh, what am I doing? This is redstone. This is the back of the product things. Let's just grab that back out. Redstone. Much easier to supply that. We've got a lot of it, so we shouldn't have any problems, and we shouldn't need any automation there. So redstone into the middle, 1, 2, and 3. And are you supplying it? Yes, you are. Yeah, it's building up to all of them, and I can just basically just dump this stuff in there. So they're filling up with the input product, the redstone, and then the silicon should go into the bottom. Once I configure this to basically output silicon, which I now have, if the printed silicon is below the limit, and then we can just put in our redstone card there and say active with a signal, and we can put a redstone card here as well, and this will be also active with signal, but yeah, we haven't configured it yet, so the signal should never go on. Both of you can go in, and are you already inputting? You are. Yep, but it's not outputting yet. Okay, have I configured this to turn on yet? Extract, always active. There it goes. Okay, so that should be outputting and should be going into the bottom of these somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So we have everything now working. Yeah, and that should keep this whole thing in stock. Now, of course, we can optimize further these cables. I have got 8 on this black, and then this blue is basically my data network, if you like. Want to think about it like that. You could separate this out or something like that. I'm not going to worry about it for now, but I'm sure people can put in the comments below if you've got any suggestions about, you know, a nicer way to do that. There are plenty of ways to around it, to think about it. Interfaces, storage buses, and everything else. Okay, so we now have a system that will autocraft processors. We just do need to continually supply it basically with the ingredients. So diamonds is straightforward, gold straightforward. Silicon, not so straightforward, and pure Certus quartz, just because I've not basically automated them. So silicon, do I get seeds? I hate to continue using seeds, but they are really, really overpowered in this pack. Silicon seed. Yes, there are. There are silicon seeds. Yep, we're going to use them because it's overpowered. I'm sorry, it just needs to be used. Silicon seed. And we just need a couple of things. So let's just get the crafting. One view, and we just need some essence. Oops, essence, and I'll click the right button this time. Let's just make some of that, and let's go for that again. Silicon seed. Job done. How about pure Certus? Pure Certus. No, there are no seeds. Sad. Sad, sad, sad. Okay, but there is an easy way to get them through the enrichment chamber. So if we move that over here, we can just drop that on top of that. Yeah, we can just drop it on top of that machine. And that will give us a supply of Certus quartz. Or in fact, we can have a separate stock keeping system for Certus quartz. Pure Certus quartz, that is. Because we can basically look at the levels of pure Certus quartz and then just trigger the export of Certus quartz crystal out here. Or in fact, we can look at dust from, well, from various ores, but I don't necessarily want it from various ores. Is there any easier way of making that? No. How much Certus quartz do I have? 60,000. That'll do. Okay, silicon seeds. Let's pop over to our other world, and let's go and grab ourselves an enrichment chamber, and then we'll set up something very similar. To this, I think. We don't have any channels left on that black cable, so we have to do something separate for it. Where's my enrichment chamber? There it is. This is doing, oh, well, I had pure fluics in there. I'm not sure why fluics are isn't in the input. I thought that would be the output. Okay, let's knock this through. We don't need you anymore, you anymore. This whole area is starting to get cleaned up now that these aren't in here and all kinds of other things. So let's just get rid of you. And we've got the enrichment chamber. You can go to factories as well in Mechanism too quite quickly once you get into Mechanism, but we won't worry about it too much. Let me just set up something very similar for the enrichment chamber. I'll do it off camera so because we need to get into the storage part of the episode, but you get the idea. We're going to do that and I'll show you in a second. And it did fit all in one black cable actually because this used up 7 channels because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or rather we have the export buses on the back of them that are actually taking the channels. And then that means I have 1 spare, which gives me number 8 right here, which I can then use for the enrichment chamber. So that is exporting Certus quartz crystal. If we have this ME level limiter saying we're down low on pure Certus quartz, and that's then creating it in here, which is going out, putting that onto the red channel. The red channel goes straight into our system, which is over here, and you'll see, well, in fact, if I just bring up the system, you'll see, let's look at pure Certus. You'll see, yeah, we're getting a stack of that so far, and that will automatically produce that, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. That means I can then set presumably this one up now. Yeah, let's just grab pure Certus, pure, because we've got an example of it. And then we're going to set the same thing. We need to emit levels are below the limit for this. And this then should start this up. Hopefully. Oh, I didn't configure the bus. Pure. Helps if you don't waste your remaining item before doing that. Yeah, so active with signal, and this should now start up, I would think. Yeah, there it goes. So it's making those. Those should go down here and be made into calculation. Yeah, and the only thing it's missing now is some power. And it's purely because it's not connected directly with anything here. And in fact, are these missing power? Or progress? Does it need connecting with some... Well, we've got all the ingredients, so that shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, let's connect it with some power then. So that just needs quartz fiber or something along those kind of lines. In fact, we may just be able to get away with... it can't be connected there. Have I used all sides? No, there's actually a side on this, and it should be shared. So let's just put in 1, 2, and that shouldn't take up any channels and should make sure power gets to all of these. Yep, there they go. That will get power once it has silicon, which we probably out of at the moment, or at least... ooh, is that going into the wrong slot? No, why are you not producing? Am I being silly? Quite possibly. 1 second. Printed silicon. You should be fine. Why aren't you working? Come on. Why aren't you working? Same reason. It's probably that this doesn't have any power connection, so I just need to get a couple more black cables. Smart cable. You can use regular, in fact. It will connect to the black. It's just that it's a little bit untidy, but you should now start working. Yeah, it's all fine. So it just needs connections. You can use quartz fiber and then just like a regular cable to make sure the data networks are separate, but you don't need it in this case because this is only concerned with power. All right, so off we go. We've got everything done, I think. Yep, all those are now producing, and these will produce as well underneath. That is fine. It's just short on silicon, and so is that one. Yeah, so you could speed this up if you wanted to, just by having more of these inscribers with basically the speed improvements for silicon, but for the moment that is fine. And then I will go and put our silicon seeds in a place where they can produce lots and lots of silicon essence. And onto the storage. I'm going to demonstrate it this episode, and I'll show you the final build next episode. So this is sort of the end storage you get to with AE2. It is a little bit over the top, just a tad. And if you're a long-time viewer of my channel, you'll have seen it before. It's a variation in structure more than anything of something that used to be called Super Soren Drive that Soren the streamer made once. But it works quite well to look more like a data center once you rearrange it a little bit. So I'll show you how I do it, and by all means look up other ways of doing it online. The idea of this is we have 2 networks operating, so you need 2 colors of cable. Okay. One color is going to be accessing the drives, i.e. the physical drives, so you can just see just the drives filling stuff, just as if you look at this, but imagine you could look at this for every single one of these all at once. And then the other network is going to look at the contents of the drives, just as you normally do that we have downstairs down there. The contents of the drives is going to be the other network. So here I've just set up something to get started, and let me just actually finish this out a little bit. So I just want to put these on the back. At least this is how I do it. And then we just put a smart cable up. Okay, So this is going to need some controllers and some other bits and pieces later, but the concept is the same. You have storage buses on the back of the drives, and that shows you the contents, i.e. the disk, this inventory, 10 slot chest inventory, and you should be able to access it from here. So if I drop in a 64K drive, it appears right there. Good. It's exactly what we want. It's empty, and away we go. Okay, now if by, just as a difference, you just attached this cable directly to this drive, then you would get the usual network. So for that, what we're going to do is just basically knock the floor through, like this. And this is, you have to sort of separate these drive bays out. Can't put them next to each other, unfortunately. I wish you could, but what basically happens is they end up sharing channels, and that causes all kinds of problems. Just trust me on this. I had gone through that before the last time I built one of these things, and I don't want to do it again. So from here, you probably want somewhere to walk just while you're actually setting this up. So you want an underfloor area of some kind. This will do. Okay. It's just big enough to fit my avatar in there. Fine. So underneath you can see we can access the bottom of these, and that does mean that I can then put the other network in. So if we use blue for our data network, we can put 3 in like this, and then we should be okay to extend this even further, I think. Depends how many you want on each row. The important point is you can only have 8 devices on each subnetwork, and we're going to be using subnetworks for this, so we don't need controllers everywhere. We can just use subnetworks. So there's 3 devices there, 3 devices there, so we can't really extend it to another drive stack. So instead, we're just going to take that as the entire network. So it's got 6 devices on it. However, we're going to want to be able to access it, so we're going to need a few things. One is a storage bus, another one is an interface. So the interface, I've got one in my inventory actually. I can just swap it over. So if I put the interface this way, and then put a storage bus on the other side of it, now, the system on this side can see the system on that side as a big chest. Okay, it's offline at the moment. It's going to need some power, but we can deal with power quite straightforwardly. I haven't really shown you this on this sort of series yet, but you can craft quartz fiber. Once you have some glass, you can craft quartz fiber, and then you can pass power between these 2 networks. What you basically do is put a quartz fiber there, one there, and then you put some cable on the other side of any type, including the glass cable. It doesn't have to be even power. In fact, I normally try to use a different kind of cable just to show that it is just for power, and then it passes power between whatever's on this side out to here. Okay, so on this side, then we will then have 7 devices, okay, which is fine. And then on this side, we'll have 8 devices because we'll have one here, which is a storage bus, 2 stacks of ME drives, another one there, and then another interface on the far end. So you can extend this as far as you like, and wherever you go on this end, you can see all contents inside there without any further controllers. You can do that twice. So you're going to have 2 sets of networks moving along here, and from there, you're pretty much set. All you need to do then is lead that cable back towards your main system, and then you can access the contents of it from your main system. So what I'm going to do to simulate that, do I have an ME controller available? I do. I'm just going to grab one and another ME coil, and let me just go and put something in one of these drives. Let's say I'm going to put in fact, I'm going to put it explicitly in this one, even though we can access it from here. The downside with this whole thing is that you can't really control where these drives go anywhere, but the upside is you don't really care anymore. You have more than enough storage to actually do this. So yeah, you can access the storage where the drives go or put them into the drives using that terminal. I'm just going to borrow that back again for now because we know we can do that. And then I'm also going to borrow, let's just say the energy acceptor, I want to say. In fact, no, I need to just grab the power off the bottom because we're just going to simulate the other side of this. And the final build will actually be a little bit more complicated than this because we need this internal network, this white network for all the drives, all to be linked together. So it'll use similar techniques to the interface storage bus thing, but it will all be linked together, possibly with some controllers for that particular network. But I'll show you that when we actually get to it. In the meantime, let's just grab 3 from up here, and I'll just use these 3 to simulate the rest of this network. So if we just go the other side. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. And that should do it. Yeah, let's just knock the blocks through. And then we should have access to this. So back we go again with the same setup. And the storage bus is there, so we can set it up that side. And on this side, we want an interface and another storage bus. So I need to craft an interface, aren't I? The system can actually do that now, so that's straightforward. Let's craft 10. Oh, it's out of glass. Okay, interface. I need to automate glass clearly, yeah, as you've seen. Should make the 1. And we will, I'll grab the 1. Ah, there it is. And let's put that back in its place so we can then get the interface. And not the terminal, but a storage bus. And then from here, we can just put a controller down if we want to. We don't actually need to in this particular case, because I can just put in the smart cable here. Don't connect it here, because it'll then look at that as well on this side of the thing. So we want to make sure we're not connecting through those. But otherwise, ME terminal. And then if we put an energy acceptor down over this side, give it some power. Okay, now we have a very, very simple network without even a controller. We've only got 2 devices on it. We've got the ME terminal and we've got storage bus. However, if we go and put stuff in it, let's just say, I don't know, 30 white concrete or something. Does it have any access to it right now, or do I need to put something else in place for its access? It's got a storage bus, and interface. Oh, that's offline. It needs power. That's why. So I am going to need that quartz fiber, which means I am going to need glass, which means I'm going to need to go craft that. 1 second. Okay, and with that crafted, we can pull power from wherever we like, but it will be convenient for us to pull power from that direction, because in between these is going to be the other network. Because it's different colors, it won't connect. So that white network's going to be running down here where those blocks are. It's not going to connect, but we can harvest power away from it, and power will be running down that other network. So we can use that to get power to all these other subnetworks. And we can do that just with glass fiber, hopefully, if I remember it. And I'm just going to use some red cable for now, just so that I can differentiate this from anything else. So 1 there, 1 there. And the same thing here. We need to get rid of you for a second. It's going to get a bit darker. And then again, I'm just going to use this as a temporary thing, just so that we can make sure there's the power. And do the same thing here. And there should go the power again. Yep. And you can see what I was saying. There's 8 channels on this one, 7 channels on this one. Still the need for controllers, and just extending however long you want, really. In our case, we can then put stuff in the system. And if we look over here, we have 517 bytes used. So yeah, we have a system where we can dump stuff into. It can go anywhere in here. We don't really care. And it doesn't need any kind of controllers powering it. We may want controllers for that, as I said, for this this white network, but I'll figure that out when I'm actually building the full thing. But the concept is the same, and you can start building this yourself. There's no reason why not to. The complex bit just comes with linking all of this stuff together, so it's all accessible from the same thing. It's in a very, very similar vein to this side, so there's not much different as far as how you're going to do it. However, if we want the power to go this way, we may want to, instead of going subnetworks, just go with controllers. But either way, you get the idea. And we have a really nice network. So from here on out, all you really need to do is make more ME drives, and I can build a full aisle of them. And we'll get back to that next episode, and I'll show you how that's actually going. Because each of these, you can imagine, each of these are going to be filled with 64K drives. We can then do things like just basically autocraft more of them until these start to fill. with 64K drives, or indeed with draw controllers, you can just turn on the mob farms and you don't really care all that much more about stuff. The only difference that you need to make sure of is that before you put stuff into a system that's this big, you do want to filter out stuff that doesn't stack, because types, unlike refined storage, in AE2, types are the killer for 64K drives. They can only store 63 types, and if stuff doesn't stack, you end up using more types. So do put anti-barrel in the way. And I think what I'm going to do with my anti-barrel, let's just go over here. And let's pop down here. Largely, I'm not really interested in much that comes in here. Maybe a conduit probe, maybe one. Maybe one example of each music disc. I don't particularly need a staff of traveling. There are lots of enders and dark bows. But other than that, not really all that much. Because a lot of the drops were removed, so we don't actually need any more than one example of each of these. So once I've got, some examples of them, all you really do is then just put another endo conduit and just filter it straight to the trash. So in that one episode, we've got some automation going, got automatic processors, and we've got pretty much a new framework for storage. And between the episodes, I'm going to move everything. Well, maybe move everything. And then we can relink everything back to our main access point here. We'll just move all these drives over into our other network, which is up there. And we'll have a structure around it or something along those lines. Once that's moved out, next episode, we're probably going to cover a little bit more, maybe cover making more of these. They can just be distributed wherever we want, probably up there somewhere and out of the way, so that we can just keep this kind of nice clean area for the crafting for the various elite stuff. However, yeah, I've quite enjoyed this episode. Got that data center started up again. And yes, if you're looking for different ways of building it or different structures, you might want to look at Soren's original version of it, which is just, there's no structure around it at all. I just preferred something that looks like a data center, because that's effectively what we're actually building here. All right, show you that next episode. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Feel free to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you're inspired by this. Leave comments for your fellow players, and don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell if you want notifications about future episodes. Other than that, we'll see you next episode for some more Project Ozone 3. As always, guys, thanks a lot for watching.